hiring managers are looking for experienced people in different types of languages like C++ or I don't know, PHP or whatever. And some hiring managers are looking for, is this person stable, like not jumping from job to job?
Good morning, Stefan. Thank you very much for joining me. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very, very honored and I have the pleasure of introducing Stefan to you. Stefan Berndt, by profession and by dignity, I may say, is an HR and leadership professional through and through. We've known each other for quite some time here, Stefan, and you know that our followers who are living abroad, looking at Germany, looking at applying for jobs in Germany are very curious to know more about what's going on behind the scenes in German companies, when German companies are recruiting, when they're posting a job ad online. And without further ado, Stefan, why don't you just introduce yourself to everyone so that they know what makes you the right person to shout all these things out? And then I'm going to actually ask my first question with regard to what is happening behind the scenes. So over to you.
Let's do so, Joerg, and thanks for having me. Good morning to everybody and each of you listening to this episode. Yeah, as Joerg said, I'm working quite some time in HR now. I'm 37 years old, but working for, I would say, 12, 13 years already in leading HR positions. And usually if you lead an HR department in Germany, you have recruiting or talent acquisition in your field of responsibility as well. So starting in a company, usually, especially in tech companies in Germany, you have recruiting on your table. And then this is usually very, very interesting because you have to find the right person at the right time, at the right place, and that very, very fast. This is usually the expectations from C-level management towards HR and towards talent acquisition teams. And then you sit together. At the very beginning in my career, it was mainly on my own and recruiting within Germany only. But in Germany, we are talking always about shortage of personnel in general in each branches, in each industries, especially in IT. So this is why me, myself, and we have to look outside of the German borders and find people to work for us. And I did this for quite some time as well. And that's usually very, very interesting because you are dealing with different cultures, different mentalities, different feelings. And at the very beginning, it's always about, it's here again about mindset to find the right people also outside of the German borders.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Which kinds of roles did you or are you usually recruiting for?
Usually it's the whole tech field, right? So it's from software engineer, it's quality assurance engineers, it's DevOps. We are talking also about product positions because usually in a software industries, you have R&D and product very close to each other. And usually these product roles are also very technical. So that means that that I was looking mainly for those positions here. Usually in the companies where I've been working, we had the biggest needs, but besides those technical positions, it was sales, marketing positions, administration, general positions as well. And always on hierarchy level, it was always individual contributors plus leading positions as well. And sometimes also looking for managing directors in C-level positions, but mainly individual contributors in the tech field.
Okay, cool. That's very interesting. Now, the people that are following Find a Job in Germany are always particularly interested in knowing which job is it worth applying for. And now I'm tossing the ball back to you. You've worked for 3 companies as a recruiter and HR professional. Have all your employers advertised in English? Has it been in German? Has it been in both languages? What was going on there?
I would love to say that this is in English only, but this is maybe a field where where German companies have to improve. But this is really, I would say, in the DNA of some companies within our country, that the corporate language is not always English. I would say it's the other way around, right? So it's mainly Deutsch. It's mainly the German language. In the three companies you named it, currently I'm working for a company where we have a remote first culture. So we do not have any office in Germany. Our CEO is German. I am German. However, our main language is English. 95 to 100% of my daily work is in English language. And yes, our job advertisements are in both languages, German and English, but mainly English is the driving force. And the companies before, it was 50-50. So at the very beginning at Axit, it was mainly in German and Polish, because we did have a branch in Wrocław. In German, we say Breslau. This was the nearshore IT tech hub. At my time at TIS for 5 years, we built and grow up a site in Bulgaria, in Sofia, and here it was in English language as well. So here we have to say that in general, the capability to speak English is in countries like Poland or Bulgaria is very high. I would say it's even a little higher than in Germany.
At what kind of level, and this is also a question that we always get, is it worth applying for a job that is posted in German if you only know, let's say, A1 or A2 at this point in time? Would you consider somebody for a role that has gotten an A2, A1 certificate, somewhere in the ranges, if the job is actually requiring German skills?
I would do that. I would go for that, but I cannot speak for 100% of our companies in Germany, because this is again coming back to my thesis saying that it's all about the attitude. Because in my companies, it was always like, okay, we need the best talent. Doesn't matter if this person speaks German or not, because if we look into our R&D department, we did have more than 20 different nationalities, and the major language was always English. So if somebody was applying for Germany, even our first talks were offered in English language, in both German and English. So, but later in time at TIS, my talent acquisition team was English only. So that means that it was really not a big barrier to have A1 or A2 certificate in German language. No, not at all in my companies, but this was something because you said we would like to have a look behind the scenes, right, within an HR department. So this is tough challenge at all, because not each and everybody in HR is speaking English like us. Yeah. So, and this is again coming back to this attitude type of things. So, and I was always pushing for, let's go for English job advertisements. Let's go for English job interviews, especially the very first interviews, the HR interviews. So, and then if you are talking to people in the departments, like the hiring managers and the department heads, usually they have a very good command of English language, because mainly they are speaking English. Yeah. So, and this is why I was always having those hiring managers on my desk, in my board, to say, hey, team HR, it's an effort for us to have 2 different job advertisements, one in German and one in English. And maybe our English is not native enough that this is crystal clear, but let's give it a try. Let's go for it, because there is no alternative. Yeah. So the market in Germany is quite thin. So each and everybody is looking for best talent. This is a challenge, especially for small companies in the B2B area where I was on my journey, because nobody knows you as a company. Nobody knows you as an employer. And this is why you need to make some difference. And this is why I was always pushing for, okay, if the difference is that we are speaking English and we can hire people just because of that, let's go for this.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. I mean, if I may, I can only commend you for that attitude, and also distributing or making sure that spirit is also carried on by other people in the HR department, because yes, very often we see that this is not yet the case. And this is also why, for everybody watching now, you may find it so hard to actually get a call simply because you don't know German yet. But there is always a way of maybe seeing that a company and this is now going to be my next question, may have either advertised in German or English, or you are going to find the website has its own English speaking sections, or it has its own English speaking features, or it's just in English altogether. That is a good indicator to see
It
whether
is.
or not it has an international outreach, international exposure, international team, etc. That's kind of a way to evaluate that. How did you usually advertise your jobs? Which platforms did you use, or
So
are you using?
yeah, so usually at the end of the day, it's having 10 years of experience in recruiting. It's not that one platform. Yeah. So it's not that one job site or something like this. At the end of the day, if I have to combine, it's really a mixture. So, and usually a very good channel is to use your network with your existing people and to have kind of an employee referral program. This is coming from intern, and you can pay for it as well, because it's so usually companies are very eager because this is kind of a social proof, right? So nobody is referring someone who is really dumb or something like this. Yeah. So usually
They
you
have
are
a reputation to lose, and usually they're good people, will recommend good people.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and there is huge studies around that also from big tech companies like Google, that it's not about the fee or the money you get. So it's really about cultural topics to refer people. But this is a totally different topic where we need to spend some time more if needed, but not today. The mixture is not only employee referral program, it's also, you know, to add some job advertisements, for instance, on LinkedIn platform, because this is international social media network. And here, so at times at TIS, we spend most of our money to LinkedIn, not only advertisement, but we saw it a bit different, right? So we have a market right now where we as employer have to apply to candidates as well. So this is why we spend, and this is part of the mixture as well, that we spend a lot of money for recruiter licensees to actively source candidates and to address people, right, in English language, because LinkedIn is really the most international business network I am aware of. So, yeah. And then we decided to address people, even German people, German-speaking people in English language.
In English.
Because for us at this time, it was important that people like to speak English as well, because it was the driving force. And then, yeah, so, I mean, you can also post and pray, but I think these times are, I would say, are over, because the market in general shifted to an employee-centered market, especially in Germany. But I know that other companies, you know, there are so many platforms where people put advertisements on. But the most important sources, at my point of view, is LinkedIn, because you as a company, you can put your company profile as well. So that you are open for, I would say, English-speaking candidates or something. And this is maybe a tip to all people now considering Germany as a location. So you can check not only websites, like Joerg said, you can also check LinkedIn pages if they are very well maintained and also have some English sections. Yeah.
Awesome. And if you are also sourcing through LinkedIn, but at the same time you have, of course, your own career section on your website, should I apply for both? Should I just choose LinkedIn? Should I just choose the career section? How does it work? Does it all end up on the same pile? What's happening behind the scenes?
If you have a modern talent acquisition department, it all ends in the recruiting system usually. But here, unfortunately, not each and every company has something like this. So in my companies, I was always introducing that and implementing that so that we have one single source of truth. And then it was really, you know, it was not really, it was equal. Yeah. So it doesn't matter if you go for LinkedIn job advertisement or career website. But you are right, Joerg, the career website I'm always missing, because this is so basic. This is very, very basic, but you need to have, if you really would like to find the right talent, you need a space on your career website in German, in English, not only showing your openings and job advertisement, but also giving some more details on your, especially on your culture, maybe having some people stories, yeah, like interviews with people in these departments, telling about just the daily business. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Which brings me to probably the most important questions that people are wondering. What kind of CV should people send in? What are you looking for in a CV? You go. That's such a big question. You go.
Yeah, this question is really big. Let's try to narrow it a bit down. So I'm looking for resumes or CVs only. Let me start with this. I'm not reading anymore any cover letters or something. Even now in AI or ChatGPT times, I
Ooh.
cannot really assess if this is now from artificial intelligence or is it really from a person, right? So some time ago, a friend sent me a message really with a great cover letter, and then he said to me, it was not me, it was ChatGPT.
Mhm.
But more than 10 years ago, I already started that I did not require any cover letter.
Awesome. Very
So
good.
it was really resume, CV only, ideally in English language, ideally a one-pager,
Mhm.
because what I need to understand is really not the qualification at the end of the day. This was not so important for me always, but it was mainly, especially in tech area, hiring managers are looking for experienced people in different types of languages like C++ or I don't know, PHP or whatever. Yeah, so I'm not that expert here, but I know that hiring managers are mainly looking for that, and some hiring managers are looking for, is this person stable, like not jumping from job to job
Ooh,
6 months.
big issue. We're actually gonna be having an episode just on that issue. You're very right about that. What do you mean? Why is that?
This is because of, I would say this is a German thing. This is German
Mhm.
mentality. This is
Mhm.
really something historical, I would say, as well. So if I would talk to my own dad, he was working 40 years for the same company. And if I personally move jobs every 5 years or something, then he is like, what are you doing? Are you crazy? So, and I would say if you look into the future and if you talk really to experts about future making, especially in IT and tech, it will be more project based, and projects means less time at one employer. So I
Mm.
think in future it will be very, very normal. But especially hiring managers with German background, so they are looking especially for these types of people, like, okay, 5 years in this company, 7 years in this company, because it's, oh, then he was loyal towards someone
Exactly.
else, right? So this is what's going on behind the scenes, but I'm trying to more and more disrupt this because it's no longer valid.
Mhm.
Because if we hire people from different countries, not only within Germany, then we do see that people do have a more, I would say, splitted CV, which does not say anything about loyalty at the end of the day. We can have a look into the science here. But this is, I would say, this is typical
It's
for
just the way they think, and as long as that attitude persists, there is really no way around that much.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like you're at the forefront of a movement that's trying to change things here. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to and watching Stefan, he is representing one kind of an HR professional. And I totally agree with everything he's saying, but it doesn't mean that what we are sharing here, what he is sharing here, is what all the other Germans are doing and looking at. So,
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
you have to turn around several stones. Then you invite people for a first round, tech round. Let's just briefly talk about the interview rounds. What
Yeah.
is your most important recommendation for people that are getting a call and that are then preparing for, let's say, an interview?
Being yourself, not playing a role. This is what I'm always recommending to each and everybody. That does not really matter to which position, but what companies are looking for is people, not robots, right? So, and we all know that for a person like me, a job interview is something very usual, very normal, because I'm doing 2 to 3 job interviews each and every week. Depends a bit on the company and also on the growth plans. Yeah. So, but when I remember back at TIS, we did have, especially me, 10, 15 job interviews per week. And then it's really standard. And what I did not like is that people really try to just explain me their CV line by line. So you have to, so ideally, you have something to say at the very beginning. You have an executive summary about yourself. You know what your talent is about, and you know what you can bring into a new company. So, and this is what I'm really keen on. So, and not just like, okay, at this point in time I was at this point in time I was at. And by the way, Stefan, my educational background, I can read everything in your resume. You have to say
It's
something.
there,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's there. You can, ideally you say something on top, which stays in my brain, which I can remember best. So because usually you are not talking to just one person, you are talking to 2, 3, 4 persons also in the final rounds, and then you need some differentiator, right? Because at the baseline all people are at the same, more or less. Yeah, sometimes it's different, but in general I would say make the difference. Try to find just one sentence or something, or maybe you can choose a quote which you really like, and then you can tell something special about yourself which you can bring into the company.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, this HR professional has shared quite a bit of information with you all. If you are all interested in learning more about finding a job in Germany, of course, that's where we come in. We're a team of ex-tech recruiters as well, and we are helping people find a job in Germany. If you're interested in knowing more, there's a link right underneath this video that you can watch. It's called Video Training. That is also to better understand how we work. Stefan, it's been a pleasure. And as a follow-up, we're now going to record another episode, which is just going to be about Germany, German job market in general, German mentality, German corporate culture. So stay tuned for that. Thank you very much,
Sure
Stefan.
thing.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate.
Thanks for
And we're
having me.
also going to talk about your shirt here in this next
Yeah, let's do so.
episode. All the best and take care. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye bye.